morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Damage Control. This is Mookie, joined here with my brother from another mother, Darth Beaver. And we got another show here on Sunday morning on our Damage Control. And today it's a little bit different. I mean, we're still going to go ahead and kind of briefly talk about the blog post and go into what's happening this week. And then we're also going to really break it down into our own little, I don't say this is the first time, but it's going to be a little bit different as far as the first time of a top 10 characters that we recommend to kind of build on, or at least give you food for thought. I always kind of feel weird about saying you got to build this. I mean, it's your personal game. You can do what you want with it. But it's just something to kind of ponder over and maybe help you if you're kind of caught up in the middle as far as what direction you want to go. Hopefully, Darth and I can help you with your decision making. All right, so with that, that's the focus today. But let's introduce Darth. How are you doing, Darth?
Very well, Mookie. Thank you. Good morning.
Morning, buddy. All right, man. So, before I even jump into our topics, these are the kind of questions I had for you. I didn't want to ask you off show. I wanted to ask you live. But we started talking about it anyways. But I want to jump into the Cosmic Crucible discussion with you first. What did you come out? Did you come out winning all the way through? What was your end rank in your Cosmic Crucible?
This week?
Yeah.
I went 1 win and 2 losses this week.
So did I. Okay, now I don't feel so bad. But was it one that, like, for me personally, I was like, and I didn't screenshot it, man. I wish. I want to focus on. I need to start kind of hitting it because I think this is, for me personally, and I'll bring it up first. For me, I feel like this is one of the number one game modes. I guess selfishly, I put it over Doom raids. And maybe that's a hot topic. But for me, this is selfishly, I think that this is the most important game mode to start focusing on. And it's all about really the rewards that you're going to get yourself into here. Focusing on what league you're going to be in. Right now, I'm in the diamond section of it. And then it comes down into the whole ranking rewards at the end of this is a weekly one. And it's getting these level 4 ions. Because it's such a scarce resource of getting towards that end game. Again, this is more individual based. Like individually, I want to get into the Apocalypse Sakas. I want to be able to have my tunes there. I want to be the first one. Like that's a selfish competitive mode that I have. And for that, that's kind of where I hit on this Crucible topic first. And when I got that ranking, dropping down, like I did lose, I think I won the first match. No, I lost the first match by like 10, 20 points, something where I was able to clear everything out, but it came on efficiency side. And the second match I won. Third one, same thing, efficiency. I was just like 10 points away or something like that. I was pissed. I was like kind of pissed off of it. And it dropped me down to getting this freaking, the 30, the 5 through 7 ranking. Is that where you dropped to?
That is what I did.
Yeah, and thinking like my overall, it's funny because on the list, when you look at the overall score, the ones that were up on me had the 2 wins, and I was on that 1 win. And I had more total points, like the VP points, victory points. I had more points over all of them. I'm like, well, shit. And I'm all like, again, thinking like my points are higher than their wins. That's not fair. Just being sour about it. But yeah, that's 15 there. Of course, if you get first, see the previous rank I was on last week, and I guess that's why I'm harping on it. It's like you taste the difference of like 30k of these ions if you get that first versus 5 through 7 ranking. But so that's my take on the whole Crucible thing. I mean, for you personally, where do you put this game mode as far as importance between like raids and everything else?
It's pretty high up there. It's probably number 1 for me too. But I mean, raids are important. We're gonna admit, like raids are. We talk about the ions on the side, but we need gear tier 17 gear and things like that, and we need more teal gear to get in there. And raids are where that's going to come from. But we're going to talk about Crucible. So Crucible is super, super important still. And going through it this week, I was out of my league in my little bracket this week. I showed you guys a screenshot of my first match. It was against a guy in Academy X. It's one of Dorky Dad's teammates, and he had 33 million on his. That was his TCP. So I mean, I'm at almost 25, and I was scared. I saw bigger teams than I'd seen in a long time. But I did my plan. I one-shot all of his teams, was super proud of myself, and lost by 50 points. Not a few points. I did exactly what I planned to do, did my one-shots, and still got smoldered. So at that point, it really gave me some perspective. It was just like, well, I did really well. Should I be unhappy about the loss and that I'm going to go down, or should I be happy that I actually had a lot of fun because these were really tough teams and I feel good about myself for one-shotting them all?
Mm-hmm.
So I went that road. And then I won the middle match and lost the last match. And I lost the last match because I played stupid. I could have gone 2-1, but I didn't. And still, I think that as much as those ions on the side are going to feel better or worse, I think that making sure you can clear every single opponent's room. And I did that this time. I cleared 18 rooms, 6 for each of them. And so I got the max amount of Crucible credits that I could get, at least for that part. And I think that helps make up for winning or losing overall. And technically, I mean, we talk about it. You win enough 3 in a rows with the ELO system, they're gonna get you into a system where you go 0-3, and you're gonna get there quicker than you want to. And then maybe the bad feelings come extra, which we've seen from a lot of our favorite content creators who do so well. They go 3-0, 3-0, 3-0, and now all of a sudden, every single person in their bracket is 6 to 8 million more than them, with 7 red star gambits and things like that. That you just can't. It's much harder to overcome. So
Yeah.
there is a point where your roster is not going to support you to continue to win. So I think building a roster though that you can offensively win with, where the fun is, like I said, it's not all of it's a resource management game, but damn, I want to have fun while I do it. And it's fun for me to attack 6 teams with my 6 or 7 or 8 best teams, however many it takes me, and wipe them all the way off the board. So there's fun and there's currency in it. And I don't like I said, the T4 ions are important, but I think that they're so scarce still right now, and there's such a low output of them with how many you need overall, um, that it's not quite as important as we want to make it out to be.
Yeah.
Because remember, Apocalypse is not till February at least, I don't think. February or March probably. So we still have 8 months to try to get. I mean, I'm going to agree it's a lot. 20 characters up to Blue ISO 4 is a lot.
Yeah.
But we do have some time. It's not like next month this event is opening. And I just want everybody to keep having fun with Cosmic Crucible because they're not taking it away. They're doing this, and it has become what I wanted it to be, and it is very selfishly my very favorite game mode, and I love it because I'm only dependent on me. It's a individual competition with really good rewards that I don't have to wait for somebody else to get off work to do his attacks to see if we're gonna win. You know, I really like the fact that I have 24 hours to do it whenever I want, and it's solely dependent on me.
Yep. Yep. Oh, good points. Yeah, I'm just, looking at this, I guess, so what I'll close it off on, and just to kind of pique your interest off of it. So the rankings, I think we were kind of close, but we both dropped down, as far as on this tribunal rating. But I want to say it was a stream I just happened to catch with Mobile Gamer, and I want to say the 1900 up, right around 2000 is kind of what will get you into the Masters. Um, so that's just something of just kind of monitoring there for myself, and I guess for you too, Darth. If we see some more X Academy and some other nice juicy characters in the Masters, so we'll see what
I'm
happens.
not much. I'm at 1787, so I'm not much higher than you. That's one war. That's one crucible difference. You know, we could be the exact same with you going 2-1 and me going 1-2 next week. I'm excited because we have potential to be opponents.
Yeah, yeah, no,
Like I'm super excited for something like that. I think that would be a lot of fun.
yeah. Well, speaking of the level for Blue Ions, which you do have a good take a little bit as far as saying like, hey, they're being so scarce with it. It's nothing to kind of lose sleep over and kind of basically have that FOMO feeling, which obviously I have. Why I'm bringing up Crucible and why I want to play that aggressively for those ions. But we do have this event, so we're gonna kind of segue into the Friday blog post. We got that's really what the meat topic of it is for me personally, and it's the Victory Blueprint that's rolling out today. We got that rolling out on August 7th with 5 p.m. And so that's something to be ready for. Now, it was
I hate
funny. I
this event.
was I was talking about saving on the war currency, your war ones, and I even sent a reminder to our alliance folks. right before the rewards were gonna drop. And then what I go off and do, I claim them myself. So I claimed
At
it.
least
I claimed it one time, but I saved the other two. How did you
just
do?
I thought about it as soon as I claimed it every time. Oh, I shouldn't have claimed that. Oh, I shouldn't have claimed that. I did it all 3 times. I got nothing in my mailbox. That's the mailbox meta is the dumbest thing. Like I hate it. I hate that I'm supposed to save mail that comes in order to complete or get further in this event. Like it's such a high level of irritation. Allow me to do it with attacking my ass off in war and doing well and winning wars. Don't make me save a week's worth of war credits and war currency in my inbox in order to complete this. It's so silly.
You know what? Yeah, let's hit on that topic real quick. We'll spend like maybe 2 minutes off of it. Try to make sure we don't derail too much and take too much time on the show. But it's something worth mentioning, man, because I don't want to overlook. Let me bring up the right gameplay here. Yeah, so look at my box, man. I have 10. So I'm over here freaking saving every damn shit that's on this web store, milestones, you name it. Um, well, right here, the reason why it's so big, I just started this. What is this called? This is from some event, which I do want to talk about. No, this is from, oh, I purchased something. I know it is. I haven't opened up my vision. See, that's the other thing. Like, I'm real strategic on shit, and I don't have access to the web store and my phone. But if
Right.
I'm gonna purchase an offer, I'm gonna gain extra points to get these little bonuses right here. So this is actually what these little pieces are coming from, because once you do that purchase of Vision, then it goes into some bundle thing, right? Like some bundle milestone. Yeah, so I just did that this morning and I haven't opened her. See, there it is. So that's where these are for. But this is what I was getting at. Yeah, yeah, the whole raid, the extra currency, getting these raid things. I save them. I do it all strategic to do it like at the end of the day before the reset. I want to see where I'm at on the energy thing, the milestone over here. Like I'm OCD about all this shit, man. And it's very tedious and to the point that you're making. It's like I don't have to worry about all that, but because it is what it is, I try to go about it very strategically and smart. That I started even looking towards the end, like, oh, am I gonna, you know, gonna be able to claim like some of these pieces? Am I at 1,200 points yet for the currency, or am I at 1080? And then I go back to my mailbox and I get that currency. It's very tedious and probably would be annoying for you to see, but
Totally.
but I do that. I do that. Um, and that's just the frugal part of me, man. I just don't. I want to try to be very efficient on all these little free shit that come our way. But anyways, what I'm trying to get at is this damn Valkyrie one right here. This the ride. I think it's this one right here. Those that don't pay attention to that web store that you're kind of hitting on and like going into the currency, there's a daily one off of her where you had to kind of blitz. No, I'm sorry. It's the arena, right? You had to do like 6 arena to clear her web milestone event. And that's actually how you'll get the pieces to start collecting onto the milestones here. Those start aren't participating in the web milestone event with Valkyrie one, and doing that are coming up short on the milestones. And I don't know, did you hear any about that rumble on any videos, or I don't know if you look at Reddit, but I caught this. Like there was a question that some people were asking, like on Reddit, saying, "Hey, how do I get to that milestone?" Like they're trying to get into the techno. What was the?
That's that gun,
Yes, this one right
right? That
here.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
And basically, they were pondering the question on Reddit, saying like, "Hey, I just finished this Blitz event with her. What? No, I forget which one it was. There was something on here that was like where you can get the fragments, and they're like, I finished it. I don't know. They must have dropped it off. I try to remember. Probably was this one right here. Yeah, they're like these were like the fragments that you had to collect, and they did everything they needed to do to kind of get to it, but it wasn't earning them that gun that we're talking
Right.
about. Yeah.
Right.
And then the answer
That.
to that was you had to go to the web milestone
Yep.
event.
You have to go to that web store every day. And that sucks for some people. Willie, I don't know how Willie. If I guess Willie's just living without it because he was very adamant about I'm not going to go put my ID up into that web store or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm just curious about if I mean how many like what's the percentage of guys like that like because that's it starts to be a big deal on everybody's progress like and I guess personally it's one of those weird selfish things I guess I'm okay with it because it's easy for me because I can do it right from my phone because I have an Android phone
Hmm.
and I just hooked it right up and so I can go multiple times a day just as easy as I can click into my game. But I mean even for you that would suck if I had to go sit at my computer once a day or twice a day to try to go do just this.
Oh, it became my morning routine this week, man. So my morning routine before I logged on to work was, well, let me log in and collect my because on that milestone it could sit like over the reset, and I would like
Right.
during the day I did my 6 arena attacks, so I knew I was hitting what I needed to do. I just visually couldn't go collect it because I don't have the access on my hands. So literally, I would just kind of I know first keep my personal account, know when I hit the 6, and then the next morning when I have access to my PC, I could go and collect it. And yeah, it was a pain in the ass for me, but I know the importance of it. If I want to stay competitive, if I want to stay be able to get like the character shards here for Deathlock, it's one of those things that I have to do. I mean, technically you don't have to, but for again, you know what I mean. Within the gameplay style, I kind of had to.
Right. Right.
Yeah, and so there I am. But yeah, I wanted to bring that up because I don't like the direction. I mean, like I get it as a business of what Scopely's trying to do to get people, and that's just more reasons to get into like their web store, their web page, right, and all that kind of stuff. That activity side of it. But it just, to me, it's going to start driving, like you said, the willies. And what percentage of the people that don't have access to it, that are free to play, that is of a certain large percentage base, like how much do you want to start kind of drawing them out of it, you know? So I don't know. We'll see. But it was something I wanted to bring it up because, yeah, when you were kind of talking about just, having to save it in your mailbox, and then that's the other strategy now, right? Now we got to save these Alliance War, and I'm waiting till tonight to open the 2 that I have saved, and that way I can get like a jump start on it.
Give you 1,000 point head start, man.
Yeah.
Like that's great. I wish that I had the willpower and the remembering ability, the memory to not just collect that stuff.
No, but see, but the other thing that I just found out is that this event, this Victory Blueprint, and someone brought it up on Reddit that's been paying attention from the prior 2 ones that were ran. They're saying that the overall points keep getting pushed back further. Like they're adding more points to it. So
Hear
that's
that.
more war currency to try to save if you want to edge, or basically they know people are doing that and they want you to go ahead and pay to complete the milestones. And it's just, I don't know, man. It just kind of sucks. But all right. But yeah, so jumping back. So that's a big event as far as on the blog post side of things, is that that's dropping off. And if I were to kind of really what I want to do too is we'll bring up this image. We'll just make it faster for us to go through. So this person right here, shout out again to Brotherhood of the Storm, and he has help with CPL Hicks and Updog. So they kind of come up with it fast here as far as this week after the blog post comes out. So we're talking about Victory that comes out on Sunday the 7th. Our Blitz character is going to be Red Guardian, and Legendary is going to be your Jubilee. And there's that Crucible here. So every Monday now, it's on cadence. Every Monday through Wednesday, you got your Crucible fights. And then we got the Quick Rumble Blitz is going to be the Cosmic Mutants and Mojo Mayhem, Flash Body. And of course, at the end of the week, this is when you get those Flash events going through. So not much really off of the blog post that I wanted to highlight. That's why I just kind of jump over here to this infographic. I guess if anything that there was something to jump back into would be the character availability. And I'll let you kind of talk on that. I mean, I know you've been kind of curious about some of the web warriors and some of the characters. But like the ones that they had, I think was Ghost Spider, right? So Ghost Spider is the big one that's coming up into the arena store. I wasn't. What was your feeling when you got news about her coming out, being the character availability?
Okay. I mean, I have her at 7 stars, so that doesn't mean much to me. But it'll mean stuff to other people, and I have to try to remember that when I talk about that. Not everybody buys characters when they come out, and not everybody's gonna have her so much. But we're getting 42 shards every 2 weeks for her right now. So that's a reasonable amount of farming. I don't think I farm that many magic shards a week farming her node.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
it's okay. I'm not upset with this. It's not something to have a party about because she's available somewhere else.
Well, I'm
But
actually more upset than you then.
yeah, I mean it could have been somebody else, but I mean
Yeah.
it's yeah. So you go if you're leading the irritation charge. Let's hear what you have to say.
No, my irritation is the fact that she was she again, I don't have like an elephant memory, but I want to say that she was the actual feature character on one of those passes, like the strike pass, like the you
Right
know.
now,
Well, yeah, she's right there for the raid side, but even before she jumped into the raid, wasn't she like part of? And I forget the like damn name of it.
on a strike pass right now. She's on one of those strike passes. She's at a reward right now.
Yeah. Anyway, it just seems like she's always been the feature within those like events that you're kind of waiting for the next new character, and she's kind of hitting all three across the board. And they didn't
Mm.
like show the same love towards like Scarlet Spider or somebody else. That's all that I'm getting at. Or I'm kind of frustrated. So when I saw this, I'm like, well, hell, she's just kind of been everywhere. She's been found feature everywhere. So now she's coming to the arena store, which is probably the easiest farming of it all. Because you could just use your arena credits towards selecting her specifically, every day. But anyways, it is what it is. But then I mean that was the only thing to kind of touch on. I was curious about your take off of that. But let's we'll jump right into our top 10, buddy. So Willie over here, when the patch 6.3 came out, he goes and kind of shows about the characters, like the ones that got like the reworks. And this is where this red lines are showing where Hulk came. He used to be right here in this middle part. So those that first time looking at this, the best way I would break it down is that um what did they call it? Like the legend, they call them legacy. Like your legacy 1 and your legacy 2 characters kind of get all jumbled right here in the middle. And as the new wave of characters that come out, like you say, like your Mega Red, Dormamu, Warlock, they're all outside the cluster. So what that basically, this graphic, the way I interpret it, is that it pulls them away from the crowd. Like they have unique features here. Maybe I should be pulling up a second one. Graphic right here that I best way I would translate is that between the y-axis and the x-axis here, the fast characters are going to be right to the far right. That's where he puts a speed. Your focus is right here, kind of in the upper right. The damage is up on top. Health is upper left, and resistance and armor. So when you think about your tank characters, they should fall on the left side of the x-axis. And then speedsters are going to be on the right side. And then your damage are going to be up on top of the y-axis and your health. So when you use that, that's where Hulk comes up here. He's a tank character, so is Wong, Hulk Buster, and so forth. So, anyways, that's kind of how to translate what's happening. So the new characters are getting out of the whole legacy cluster 1 and 2 cluster. They're coming up here. So when you're thinking about, oh, where does Hulk rank on them? He's going to be a very heavy tank character. Look at She-Hulk. She's coming up. And she's coming, driving towards more on the damage side of things, I guess, and also kind of on the tank side of it. And then there goes Iron Man with the damage. So remember, up on top is where your damage output starts coming too. And then we got, I guess I should bring it up a little bit closer here. And then we got Vision. I guess he might be towards focus or speed. Look, see, there's Black Widow and Hawkeye over here on the speed. So, anyways, as you look at that, and you start kind of thinking about to yourself, okay, who is it that I want to start upgrading? You can think about the new characters that way, but there's still more to come when you start thinking about the Bionic Avengers. But the list that Darth and I are jumping into is thinking of, all right, we know the obvious. We know that Scopely's telling us that you need to start building up on this team right here. You got to get them to G17 in order to get to the second run of Apocalypse when the saga start coming through. And then same thing with this team, Unlimited X-Men. So each of the horsemen are going to have their dedicated team, and they're not going to be part of our recommendations to build up on, because again, that's kind of the obvious. That's what the direction they're telling us to do. What the top 10 is going to be about is about the ones that aren't as obvious. So the exclusions, again, it's going to be with Morgan Le Fay's team, with Rogue's team, and we even added like Dormammu, Doom. Those are the high-end legendary type characters. For me personally, I took off the Eternals because I personally felt like they were kind of obvious, and Darth had a good take on it where maybe they're not so obvious. But those are the ones that are kind of being excluded from the list. So when we jump into it, here's just like another infographic that really I want to kind of break it down. So this is kind of the decision making. It's like, who are we building up to G15, and who are the ones that we can kind of tinker with and kind of start building up to G16, G17 that may not be as obvious as these specific apocalypse teams. And I'll let you, I've done a lot of talking, but we'll talk about the first one in no particular order. We're not gonna say this is the top number one, but this is the one that mutually, when we individually went through our list, this is funny. This is the one that we both shared on. I'll let you kind of explain the reasons why Shang would be on the list of characters worth building up.
Shang-Chi's a badass character. He's been helpful in raids. He will still be helpful in Doom 3 raids. He's still part of the team that I know you and I are both using right now to complete the skill section. He was vital to get through Dark Dimension 5 for me. Um, I did not take Cloak and Dagger. I only took Cloak, but I also took Shang-Chi. And his damage and his turn rewind and his heal and his little clear, he's got an excellent kit that does amazing things. One of those few characters that has percentage damage increase by how many buffs a certain character has. So he's got a real ability to put a lot of damage out if your first target is somebody with if it's a juggernaut with a grip of buffs sitting on there. If he's got 6 buffs, that's an extra. I don't remember what the percentage is, but it raises his percentage on his damage by a significant amount. And turn rewind, speed is king. We talk about that all the time. Everything in his kit is just beautiful, and he's a high damage character. He's got good speed, excellent plug and play resource.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah, now you hit on all the details, and well said, man. I mean, not much I'll add on to it because we got a good list here. So let's jump on to number 2. Again, no particular order of preference, but this one right here for me is definitely on my list. And I was one of the ones that went all in as far as doing the red 7 and getting her red start up all the way to 7. And I did that months ago, feels like. And I've been excited about that because that's always a question, right? Like, some people kind of say like no tunes are worth spending, the red 7s on, because I think it's what, 150 to do that, and then it's only 100 to do the 6. So to kind of save efficiency wise, you kind of just makes sense to get like 2 characters or 3 characters at level 6 versus 2 at 7, kind of math. But anyways, but yeah, no, she's just the aspect that she could do where she clears those buffs. You talk about like where Shang-Chi hits multiple buffs and he gets more power, to the aspect where you get stuck behind a taunt, especially like I've been feeling on these Doom 3 raids, where she just kind of comes in, is able to get me away from the tanks, and then she has that excellent first turn ultimate there on that side of it. Plus, she prevents, revives when she's charged, and she just has, little mechanics. But I mean, her obvious is like the ping effect. It's the big one right there. So she's the best plug play character that matches her up to anybody that throws the defensive downs on your opponents. She can start pinging away. And then plus she's cheap to equip. I mean, it's the number one thing I would say. You talked about, characters to bring into Doom 5. To Dark Dimension 5, so she's definitely one of the candidates there because you don't have to spend too much resources. And I mean, I guess the Scopely's, feature character, right? So they made her long lasting, and she's definitely the one that carries my tech section and skill. So the one thing that I would say with Doom, once the Mystic came out, he fall off of my rotation on the Doom raids, whereas Kestro, she never fallen off. She's a key character in tech, and she is a key character in that skill team when you match her up with the Shang-Chi and the Secret Avengers. I don't know, anything you want to add on her?
No, you covered it all beautifully. She is a top tier character. We like to make fun of her when she first came out, but Kestrel made an excellent character that we've all gotten tons of use out of.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So this one right here, it's obviously this is the team kind of compilation within this infographic here by Benny Westside. Um, but for me personally, I only look into upgrading like if one, and this is just me talking personally out loud. Like when I go through like a top 10 list here, I don't look into getting all five of them across the board. Now, Darth may have a different take on that. But again, so my perception on here within my list is that I look into Ghost Spider. It's really what I'm singling out onto this. I mean, for me, she's the number one character to build up on. Close second is this guy right here, Scarlet Spider. So these are the feature ones within my list here. I just didn't have like an individual pick for them, but these are the ones that come through it here. And they were very, 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 very useful in the bio section. Darth brought up, Shying in there. But if you get these people into your DD5 run, they're going to help you out as well. I was fortunate where I had Cloak and Dagger, and I had these two symbiotes, and I had Shang. So I just wiped the bio section with that particular team. But I'm just singling them out. So for me, I'm just kind of talking about those two feature characters, but I'll let Dart talk about the team overall and kind of why they made his list.
Raids are important. They're the most rewarding aspect of the game with the amount of teal gear and things like that they offer. And they've just brought us new raids, and the Web Warriors are the team to do that in the bio section. You're gonna need them all, and Ghost Spider is super important. But here's what I found out in these raids. Because the enemies are a little bit bigger, you also face them in the raids, which we were speaking about. I can't remember if it was off air or not, but it's not fair that they put these Apex raid characters as your opponents in raids, and they get the raid bonuses. But Spider Punk, the character that everybody hates and everybody wants to replace, his damage output is so massive in raids. He's killing characters for me. His basic will kill a character from over half health to dead. It's one of those, like, we all overlooked him because we didn't need him, and he absolutely sucks outside of raids. But inside of those raids, he smashes. So Ghost Spider is important. Scarlet Spider is super important too. But they function as a team, and we wanted to make it an individual list, and I'm just not. I can't pick one or two out of this list to say super much more important than the other, because they all bring so much to the team. You kind of need them all in order for them to function properly in the raids.
Yeah.
And personally for me, I am going to be bringing them all to 90. They're one of the next ones I'm bringing up to 88, which is what my player level is right now, for the raids. And only for the raids, because I have a 7-star Morgan Le Fay. So there's the double that we haven't talked about. I think, do you have a 7-star Morgan Le Fay now too?
I don't. Oh, yeah, well, I
No?
want to talk about that event. I kind of overlooked it as I brought up the Saga little infographic, the Apocalypse. I'm like 12 pieces away.
Oh,
Charge some
shit.
shit like
So,
that.
okay.
I'm
So
gonna
it's not
double check.
important.
Anyways, go ahead.
Okay, oh, so you're going to buy some orbs, is what you're saying, to finish her off, because you only need
Yeah,
12 more
hey,
shards.
because Agatha wasn't there, right, for my $30, so I might as well put it on somebody else. Damn it.
Okay, so that's where they got you. But for me, I did get her to 7 stars after the second run.
Mm-hmm.
So if you haven't got her yet, though, that's still a Scourge team too. Not only are they all over this Doom 3, but they are the key team in the Pestilence saga, or in the Pestilence Scourge, excuse me. So there's still double bonuses for people that don't have a 7-star Morgan Le Fay, which is going to give them intrinsic value for a long time, because they're always going to be the unlock for Morgan Le Fay.
Well said, man. I can't even dispute the arguments with that, but I would say for those that are kind of worried about spinning the gears still, here's kind of the screenshot of what I have on my screen. I mean, not screenshot, but this is my team. So this is kind of where I'm building up to the point that I'm making within my Ghost Spider and Scarlet. There they are. They're G16. Because Dark, where I'll kind of bounce back a little bit. Spider Punk is not the one that you want to bring into Dark Dimensions, but he is the hell of a freaking raid character. So I am going to level him up to 90. when you talked about him, you built him up so beautifully because it's true. If you face a freaking spider punk like on defense, he's gonna get your ass if you don't pay attention. But anyways, I think I am gonna do a 6 red on him. So to kind of close it off, then I mean, again, so my personal take is these are the ones you safely can do the investments on outside. These right here, kind of hold off on that unless you want to start auto playing it. I guess you can go higher, but I'm gonna stop at the G15s for them, like we saw on Hargrave's graph. But I will level them up to 90, and I'll start working on that because they are. I mean, they're the more new raid team that came out, and I don't see a fast replacement for them. So I think this is one that's kind of safe to kind of look into it because I know that was part of the conversation our alliance mates had. It's like, nah, there's going to be someone else that's going to come out and replace it, but I don't. It just doesn't feel like that's going to be the case right now.
I'm not saying that I would build into 16 either. I literally have my web warriors at the exact same gear levels you do.
Yeah.
Two 16s and 3 15s, and that's where I'm going to stop. I'm not looking to invest any more of my teal bio gear into this team because they should be able to handle it where it is with just a few more levels.
Yeah.
Because again, as much as we say everything's safe to build, we have to put this with the caveat with we know we're going to need bio gear for the war team that's coming up. The gamma team is going to be bio team, so and they're going to need to be the 16. And I know this isn't about those teams, but everything in this game has to slightly be about that if that's what your game is.
Mm-hmm.
So as cool as it would be to have gear 16 across the board web warriors, that gear could have been used and probably should have been used on your gamma team as they come out.
There you go. Yeah. This is kind of also in regards to like team buildup, which I'll let you kind of hit on, but again, I kind of go within my take of it as far as what I do. Jubilee is making a list for the same aspect as far as with raids, but she is also definitely a character. I don't say that you have to bring on the mutant legendaries. I mean, there's bigger mutant now with Omega Red and with Morgan Le Fay. But initially, before those tunes popped up, she was one of the key legendary characters, especially like on DD4. But she's part of the Axemen team, so I'm gonna kind of show them off real quick. I mean, the next one is Bishop that I would definitely recommend using, and the third would be in Beast. But you kind of, I know this made your list. I mean, I had these three. I didn't have them as a whole team. I just feel like these are the top three to build because outside you can plug in like the Gambit and Rogue, and certain type of stuff. But what you told me the other day, and I'll let you elaborate, why would you not want to break up this Axeman team? I mean, you hit the mutant section more than I do on Doom 3. My map, again, like we talked last week, I go on the left, and I don't see it towards the very end. But you see it right from the get-go. So you tell me the reasons of why you feel that this is a good character to start building up.
As I'm a content watcher, and Dorky Dad showed a video that I mean, it sounds cheap and it sounds like a cop out, but it's true, and you don't think about it. You think, oh, these characters are older, they're not going to be as good. I need to try my Rogue because she's fucking awesome, and my Omega Red because he's gear 16, and I pumped him to 6 red stars, and it just isn't working out. But the Axemen, because of the way they're built, because they're a raid team, because they work so well as a 5-piece with everything they do with Kitty's evades and Iceman's slows and the slows taking their damage down. They're making it. I saw that video and I did the decide. He says, okay, well he's usually very right about gameplay things, especially PvE stuff. Not just PvE, but he's got solid advice almost all the time. So I pumped my big 3 up to level 88. And I did the first 2 mutant nodes, easy peasy. I one-shot the first one, and I had to heal a little bit on the second one, but it wasn't anything so bad. It wasn't me multiple-shotting multiple nodes and having to heal 3 or 4 characters in my team. I think they're the answer right now. I don't know when they're going to bring out another mutant team, and I don't know what it is, but I know that I feel okay with all of the teams I have because I can get through the first 2 nodes with the Axemen. When you get to the boss node, usually there's somebody else there. And then you can use your big teams. You can put in your Weapon X with Emma or your Unlimited X-Men. And they can either start or finish off a node very well, but it just feels that they're never going to go from start to finish and be okay. As where the Axemen have that capability. And it's because of Beast. because Beast is that team's Squirrel Girl. I did not move him back to healer yet, like you have, but I want to. But when other axemen drop below 50%, he gets energy, he gets speed bar, and if you can keep him bouncing back and forth and keep the other members bouncing above 50%, he's just going to cleanse and heal all day long, which is what I found was happening because the enemies are strong enough where they're taking a turn and they're AoEing, they're putting multiple characters under 50%.
Yeah.
So I think that's part of the key, and I think it's going to be the answer. At least for now, there's not much else out there, man. Is Archangel going to be the Horseman of Death, and is that going to be a mutant team, and is that mutant team going to do better than this one? That's future stuff that we just don't know.
Yeah. And we can't wait on that now that we got Doom 3 out. So
Exactly.
Yeah, so I definitely have these top three kind of already set in that order. I don't think I'm in a position to kind of get G16 on these characters. But I am gonna level them up to 90. I still haven't worked on my poor Iceman. He's actually really hitting on the down low. He's pretty clutch on the raids and what he gives off with the speed and stun. So I definitely start building him up. But because he has a revive, it's the reason why he's kind of down low for me. I just trust his revive to help him back up. But yeah. But anyways, let me jump off of this team then, and let me find my list here. But here we go with the Bionic Avengers. Now, the real key character that we're highlighting that really made our list and stuck out is Iron Man. And for me personally, with that Iron Man, and the reason why I would say definitely start building him up is he's going to be part of that Wave 1 team. He might be part of a hybrid where you throw him with Thor and the Asgards. Don't know. But the main thing is that this, team, I should say Iron Man, is going to be part of the Wave 1 squad that can jump into, is it Red Hulk, right? The Red Hulk event. So it's
Yes.
here Asgards, Wave 1, and Ravengers. So those are the three teams that you're going to use for the nodes 5 and 10. But besides that, this is also the new tech team. It's pretty obvious that this is going to be the new tech team that you're going to start using as similar to your Web Warriors. And that's kind of why some people that were on my list starts falling off, and I'll kind of speeding, but that's kind of a mention I'll mention later. But it makes me wonder, like, does Kestrel start kind of getting off that tech team? Is she going to still be plugged in with them? Who knows? But ultimately, I think that they have so many traits where they're giving out ability energies to each other under passes or even some of their specials and ultimates and all that, depending on which character. I mean, there's just tons of ability energies that they're all are going to be in sync. They're going to be high damage output. And the one thing that I learned within these Doom 3 raids is that you want to have control and you want to kill them before they start getting going. And the fact that this team has a very high damage output and you don't have to really slow play your cooldowns a certain way because they're always giving ability energy out, it sounds like you're going to have control of it and they're going to bang, kill them before the defense opponents come off on you. So this is definitely going to be one of the heavy teams to start investing in. And you could definitely jump right into that whole G15 level with them, as Viv Vision just came out, as Quincy brought up. So I would tell you definitely you can start building her up. Deathlock, you're gonna have to just truck along within that month, event that we have, but that would be the character to start going through. Currently, we got Vision available, and we have Iron Man available. I don't know, I know with Quincy, you may have to kind of look into unlocking him. Forgot what characters they need, but anyways, Hulk Busher would be the next
Shield.
one to come in. Is it Shield? Is it Shield characters for him?
Yeah, Shield. It is.
Some of the minions, I think, too, right?
I think it can be any Shield characters.
Okay, good. Okay, but yeah, I mean, is there anything you want to add on to this team?
No, I think you hit it all. Iron Man's covering a bunch of stuff right now. He is a Scourge team for two different Scourges. He is on the main tech raid team, and I think you're absolutely right. And that's the point I didn't think about until right now. Is Kestrel's going to fall off? Like, I'm positive that team is going to work as a 5-piece, and there's no room for Kestrel.
Yeah. Yep. All right. But what I would say before I move on, because my whole theory within this list is like, okay, as far as G16, if you were to G16 these characters. I know this is real kind of early because I mean we don't real have true test playing and seeing which one is out feature. But I mean for me it's Iron Man. I mean I would kind of say like if you want to invest more power, his passive, keeping him on the field longer, probably the reason why I'll put him at a G16. Um, I can't make a case for anybody yet. I mean it's too early. But,
We haven't got to play with them.
yeah. All right. But speaking about Wave 1, so this guy made the list here. It's almost the same concept that you can talk about with Hero as Guardians, but see, with Heroes as Guardians, they're not a raid team. So this guy kind of sticks out more individually in the aspect of that he is the most, like you said off air, he is the scariest guy when you're looking at him on the defense, that you're kind of worried about him popping off. So building him up high just makes him that much more scarier and a threat, especially if you're looking into Cosmic Crucible. I've seen a lot of people throw in Asgard into defense now, and sometimes they mesh up Dormammu with the team. So that's kind of other things. Obviously, on the war side, you get him built up. So he's definitely a character in those particular game modes, but he is going to be part of that Scourge event in which he is a wave one, and his passive ability also pops off. It doesn't have to be Hero Asgard, but any wave ones that are getting attacked, he's gonna get upset, and he's gonna go ahead and start popping off. Um, but yeah, well, what's the mindset that you have behind Thor making the list?
Oh yeah, exactly. That he's a premier war defensive character. He's the main threat on that team, I feel. At least for right now, until people get Mighty Thor built up very high. At least as far as what we're seeing, some people have her very high already. Um, but he's the main damager on that. He's a main character for the War Scourge that's coming up. He covers 2 of the tags that covered nodes 5 and 10. And again, he's the main target on that team. He is probably going to be your main damage dealer moving forward with him popping off with his passive. So yeah, his value is pretty big at this point in time in the game.
Oh, all right. And we're already jumping off to number 10. And just for those notes, as far as counting, just to kind of give the count off of it, if you want to be real detailed about it, that's 1 right there with Shang-Chi, 2 with Kestrel. The 3 and 4 are these 2 up on the left, Scarlet and Ghost Spider. Then we got Jubilee at 5, Bishop at 6, Beast at 7, and then 8 is Iron Man, 9 is Thor, and then the one to make our 10th list. And it was funny because I kind of brought up this particular character individually, but then I'm glad someone got to experience her recently on the Origins, the Bio Origins. I'll let you go and talk about why Squirrel Girl all of a sudden it was hard to come up with we have some other players to talk about, but she can squeaked in and make the squeak. You like that squeak in like squirrel?
That's good.
But yeah, so she came in at 10. Yeah. So yeah, tell me about your experience on that origin with Squirrel Girl.
I wouldn't have been able to beat difficulty 5 without her. Like there's her cleanse and her heal and her uh, speed gain as she goes, or any young Avenger ally goes under 50% health, and was just insane. Like she's her value is immense in anything that is city, anything that is bio. She's not a main bio character. Like we didn't speak with her with our main bio raid team. But if you were going to replace a single character on the Web Warriors with somebody, it would be with Squirrel Girl.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's not another character that you would even consider probably replacing one out with. But if you were going to consider that, it would be with Squirrel Girl. I took her for my second run of the city nodes of DD5 and took her over Dagger to go with Cloak, and very pleased with that pick. No, I see nothing wrong with the pick that I made. She, like I said, her value, her heal, her speed gain, her offense down. She has so much control. She gives herself death proof when she goes down under certain percent health. Her rework is one of the mega ones of recent times.
Yeah, and just to add on that the whole Young Avengers with them popping off for the what was the rogue event? I forgot the actual name. Famine? I think it's called the Famine.
Yep.
Yeah. He was definitely the hero all-star that came into play there. All right, but let's talk about the honorable mentions here. Now, I have Shuri on here. And it's funny, I have love for Shuri. As far as just like she's been one of those legendary tunes that when she first came out was kind of meh a little bit. Um but it's just something about her niche, about how fast she gets off and protects the team. Like to me, she was like the best legendary protector, or one of the best individual protectors overall. And it was something that I really kind of got her. What sparked my interest is when that one game was coming out, like the real time arena, but there was another one where you could do that PvP with, and I remember playing and testing out that one, and she's just like one of those niche characters you can plug in and protects the team and the ability, energy, and so forth. So when she got her rework, she really was the high boost character as far as that for me that was needed in the tech sections when we are doing our Doom 4, not Doom 4, our Doom 2.0 and
Mhm.
up. And she really carried that team, and then which made it even more easy for me personally because again I had like this longevity. Just I played with her enough that I knew her value, and I used it onto the legendary sections when we went into our DD4 and DD5 runs. But she is going to be falling off the map. With all that said, as far as on the raid side, Darth was just hitting on the Bionic Avengers, and just like Kestrel, obviously Kestrel's the number one over Shuri as far as to plug in on that section. But with that being the case, we're talking about Kestrel probably falling off. Shuri's going to fall off, so that's why she's not really on the top 10 to build. But if you need, someone to kind of bring in that has a different, I forgot what's her, is it like a tech, the tech thing that you need to get her as legendary versus the mutant and so forth. She's definitely still kind of worth it as far as bringing her into legendary if you need some, if you ran out of mutant gear or something like that. Um, but I'm gonna let you talk about this guy. I still put him up on here the list, and it's a sad thing that he doesn't have the Wakanda trait. That team would be
Hmm.
so much interesting if he had a Wakanda trait. Imagine him in Crucible with the Wakanda buffs.
I don't want to imagine him in Crucible with Wakanda buffs. They would be too much. It would be amazing.
Tell me how you
Um,
play this guy.
I love Star Lord T'Challa. We talked about him a little bit earlier, so I wish that he wound up being his most important thing that we've dealt with so far was the Gambit raid. There was one lane in the Gambit raid. I cannot remember which suit it was, but if you did not have a big Star Lord T'Challa, it was damn near impossible. So that was the start of when people realized how important he was. Because as much as he is a war offense character, we're talking about this. I have a 900k Ravengers team that I love to use, but it doesn't beat anything meta, and it smashes everything not meta. It's one of the teams I felt that I've overinvested in the most, um, because just what I said. Because I'm not beating a brand new war defense team with it. And anything I am beating, I feel like I could have beat a gear tier 14 instead of gear tier 15, level 80 instead of level 85. But Star-Lord T'Challa individually, he's so cool. He's so fun to play with. His blind and energy steal is so much fun. The fact that he gets turn meter when enemies die, and he gets to go off all the time. He's so much fun. I invested a 6 red star in him. I purchased it and got it so that I could comfortably move him to striker, and his damage output is through the roof. Um, he's a lot of fun. I wish that he was more important somewhere else, but it's super nice that he is a character for this Scourge because he is super fast, and that blind is the blind slash energy steal is such a good controlling aspect of a fight that there's a possibility that it may be necessary for him to be built up for this next Scourge.
Well said. I mean, and that's the reason why I really want to kind of push him on there is that Scourge. It's gonna be interesting to see if he's gonna be part of some type of hybrid setup with the Wave One and the Hero Asgardians. It's all yet to come. For all we know, there may be like a little trash team to kind of go in there to kind of take the hit, and then another cleanup team. So definitely something that's still gonna should be on the radar. And the only reason why I think he's not a top 10 is just the fact that like you kind of hit on like the Ravengers can't kill the meta arena war defensive teams, and they're not viable for raids. Just it's just he kind of gets lost in the shuffle within the team concept that he's with, and that's kind of why I jokingly said that. Imagine if he was with Wakanda, and the whole yeah, that would be a whole different case, and he definitely would be top 10 because then now you can talk about him with Crucible. Now you can talk to him about that one annoyance in the Greek that I talked about off air when the Wakandas in Pimtech before some of the reworks happened, they would struggle. He would have helped bolster that. So yeah, he's definitely the key character, one of those that you don't want to forget about a little bit. So I would say, yeah, you could still feel especially when that you hit on a great point, man. When that Gambit raid came out, everybody slept on him. But you and I kind of, were working on him, and he paid dividends within that time frame. So, all right, but that's gonna wrap it up as far as the top 10. So I'll stop the recording onto the YouTube side of things. We'll kind of chit chat a little bit just to kind of close things off onto Twitch. But those of you guys on YouTube, I hope you enjoyed this little different segment of our damage control. We probably would do a little bit more of these a little bit. So if we kind of see things going on within our lines questioning stuff, that kind of mirrors our content a little bit. So we'll definitely kind of do the same with new other topics, but definitely be safe with your investments. Try not to get too overexcited on certain tunes as a team. See, that's my takeaway off of it. As I went into like the Web Warriors, we went into the Bionic Avengers and stuff. All through my personal experience of gameplay, there's always like 2-3 key characters on each team that I feel are safe to build up. And I would just kind of steer away from caution as far as building up the entire 5. And that's kind of where the Spider Punk theory kind of comes into play, is that like, hey, he's only good for the raid side. But I know again, it's all individual take, but I would just kind of close off on that. Just, be safe within your own means. And I hope you guys enjoy your week. And we'll catch y'all next week on another episode of our damage control. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.